This is Real Weight Loss, as told on Reddit, Episode 5. My name is Jeremy Colon. This weight loss story comes from the Reddit Lose It. The link to that thread will be in the description. This story is so relatable in the sense that the person shares thoughts and emotions that we often keep to ourselves that no one else gets to hear. Let's get started. Crossed 100 pounds loss this week. So this week, I have crossed the 100 pounds loss mark on my journey to be healthier and happier in my own body. I am now like 15-20 pounds away from my final goal, which is kind of hard to believe considering where I started from. I have never really successfully lost weight before, so this year coming from as high point that was higher than I ever have been to a weight that I haven't seen since I was in college is still something I'm wrapping my head around. The journey. So I started my journey at the end of February after meeting with my doctor and finding out that my A1C indicated that I potentially have type 2 diabetes. At that point, thanks to COVID, switching back to full calorie sodas in a bad attempt to cut caffeine and eating away more sweets during COVID while learning how to bake and just in general eating more sweets. I had put on an additional 20 pounds in 2020 from a weight that was already very bad. I honestly didn't see this as much of a problem up until that point. My stats had always been fairly healthy in terms of blood pressure, A1C, cholesterol, etc., and I liked my diet life, so I always resisted any suggestions of losing weight. Anyway, after that visit, I decided that I needed to change. So in February, I started by eliminating soda from my diet, cut out all the sweets like ice cream, cookies, etc. Also, probably the hardest change for me to make during all this was to eliminate the late night snack before bed, where I would eat various items from sweets to peanut butter to cheese and crackers or whatever. Those changes allowed me to start losing the first 20-30 pounds. It was mostly an effort to work on my A1C and other stats, but starting in those first couple months of losing weight pretty steadily with these changes encouraged me to start making other changes to my lifestyle as well. After my initial successes on cutting those superfluous items, my next steps was to start upping my exercise levels. I started out just walking my bulldog more regularly and then started adding longer and longer walks to that mix. I started out walking a mile to a mile and a half about every other day and slowly started increasing the length and frequency of the walks to where I am now doing 4 to 5 miles about 5 to 6 days a week pretty regularly. I also started eating smaller portions in my meals and focused on replacing any of my snacks with apples, bananas, or grapes, which helped me to get through the next stages of things. The learnings. So for me, I had a number of learnings so far in this journey. The biggest for me is that while I am probably a bit over obsessed with stepping onto the scale a couple times a day, but that as long as I'm sticking to my plan, the work would show up on the scale as well. There have frequently been times where I would plateau for a week or more and then suddenly drop a few pounds as my body caught up with what I had been doing. Trusting that progress would come as long as I kept up with what I was doing was definitely something that was hard at a few different points to not feel discouraged. However, the other side to that is that I also had a few times in the journey where what I was doing had to improve in order to maintain the progress that maybe didn't understand or expect going in. Walking 4 miles at 250 pounds burns a lot more calories than walking 4 miles at 190 pounds, especially because my body is a lot more used to that walk and can handle it a lot better now. While that is a great feeling knowing that I can handle basic physical activity better, I also had to adjust what I was doing a few different times to keep up making progress in my journey going forward. I found in general my current diet was basically maintenance mode without exercise, whereas 3 months or so ago, I would lose weight just with my diet by itself. So I got a bit more strict with my diet to help get over that plateau the past couple months and also try to add a little bit more to my exercise routine. I know this gets said a lot, but don't let a slip derail you. I actually feel pretty confident now that I can go out to dinner with my friends and maybe eat a bit more than I should for a day and that as long as I maintain my diet and exercise, maybe using that extra meal as inspiration to go a bit farther the next couple of days, that I could account for that difference and still make it work. Just getting into a good mental state with my body and trusting the process has been probably the hardest, but also the most enlightening thing about my journey so far. I'm still scared about what will happen when I get into maintenance mode, hopefully sometime next year. But I feel like my relationship with food, exercise, and my body is so much better now than it has ever been before. The non-scale victories. I have to admit, I wasn't prepared for all the life changes that come from going on this journey, and more than a few of them have surprised me as I went along. Probably my favorite is suddenly enjoying going shopping for clothes. For me, shopping for clothes was always a utilitarian thing I did. I would do it online, find one thing that fit properly, and then just buy a few versions of that to fill out my wardrobe. My friends would often joke about my uniform that was basically a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts and a polo of various colors that I pretty much wore most of the time. While I don't think my style has evolved much, I actually have gone to the mall the past month or so to try on clothes, being honestly unsure of what size clothes I need right now, and it's actually an enjoyable experience to go into stores I have never been able to shop at and try on things that actually fit and actually look pretty good on me. Another is simply being able to be more active and enjoying being more active. I do more things around the house. I go out and exercise more, but I just like going out for a walk to listen to my audiobook. I get up and move around more just in general. I have more energy to just do things during the day, and honestly, I never felt like I was all that sedentary before until I honestly stopped being so sedentary. While I have always been pretty confident in myself as a person, I am much more confident in myself in ways I haven't been before. One of my favorites is that I simply don't mind actually like having my picture taken. I always hated having my picture taken, but now I don't mind it and want to take pictures of things to help remember them. Recently took a vacation and I actually have a number of pictures from it where previous vacations, if I had one picture of myself, that would be a lot. As for the last, I'll just leave a post here that my wife pointed out to me a couple weeks ago and said that it was at least an inch and definitely noticeable. Conclusion. I know this has been a long post. Overall, I just wanted to share my successes here, as I know that reading a lot of all of your successes was a huge inspiration for me going through my journey, and hopefully knowing that this nearly 45-year-old dude can figure out a way to lose 100 pounds will inspire one of you to get on the journey and figure out a way that works for you. I don't think or expect that what I did will work for anyone else, but knowing that if you work to find a way that works for you to just take in fewer calories and expend more, you can achieve what you want here. It is every bit as daunting as you think it is, but at the same time, it really, really isn't. Just start small and don't get discouraged because of a setback. It is possible, and just because you failed before doesn't mean you need to fail this time. Thank you again for getting this far into the video. My one big takeaway would be the non-scale victories. Too often we get too wrapped up with the number on the scale that we forget all the good things that we're able to do and all the good things that came out of the journey. The number that we see on the scale is just a number. We use it for tracking. Aside from that, the number doesn't reflect how well you can run, doesn't reflect how well you perform, doesn't reflect how happy you are, doesn't reflect all the other social things that we do in this life. The number is just that. So don't get too wrapped up with the numbers. Don't get too wrapped up with what you see on the scale. What matters is, it is the victories that come along the way from your journey and the things that you're able to do for yourself. Now, if I was this person's coach, if I was in this person's corner, a couple things I would critique would be: number one, too much cardio. Jogging, running, walking, 4 to 5 miles, 4 to 5 times a week is a bit excessive. And I don't think it's also a good use of someone's time. There's so many other ways to get the heart rate up, to get the blood pumping. You could do sprinting. You could pick up weights. I would recommend mixing it up for this person just to get more out of his time and to get more out of his workouts. Again, don't get me wrong, leisurely walking, listening to audiobook, that's great. That's a good way to give yourself some space, some time from the world, but it also doesn't do much, especially if you do it excessively. So I think having a break in routine and mixing things up would be really beneficial to aid in also speeding up the weight loss process. Number 2, maintenance mode. When you hear maintenance mode, it's a bit confusing at first, because maintenance mode is a period where we give ourselves a break from our current routine. I don't know how long this person was on this weight loss journey. Now, if I was his coach, I would say for 12 weeks, we're gonna hit a goal of losing 20 to 30 pounds over the next 12 weeks. The next 4 weeks after that will be what we call a microcycle, or a maintenance phase, where we take a break, where you give your body time to adjust to this new weight, to give yourself time for your body to recover from the stress. When we are losing weight, we are actually in a stress period where our body is restricting calories, where we're, taking less than we're expending out, where we're really pushing ourselves to reach our goal. And we don't want to reach a period where we are chronically dieting or putting ourselves through a year-long process of trying to lose weight. Breaks are necessary to disrupt the pattern, to allow ourselves to catch up, our mind, our bodies. So I would say during that, I don't know how long the person went for that journey to lose 100 pounds, but along the way, I would give the person breaks in between, where they can just enjoy life a little bit, enjoy a little more food, enjoy the social aspects. Part of the story, the person was able to do a little more vacation with his wife, to enjoy taking pictures, to get compliments. Those are all the great things that come out of losing weight, and I applaud him for that. But the importance of having a break in between is very beneficial. So that way, after that break, we can focus on the new goal. So if you lost 20, 30 pounds over the 12 weeks, we take a break, you get adjusted to that new weight. Track things, make tweaks, test, adjust, and just have fun. It doesn't have to be complicated. Thank you again for watching this video. Please share, please like, please subscribe. If you know anybody that could benefit from watching this video, show it to them. Thank you again. Have a great one. Take care.